Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of CLX Foundry Live, where we go deep inside a custom build and we assemble it from the ground up and see how fast we can do it or how much we can slow somebody else down. I'm your host, DJ BluePDX, and joining me right now, of course, is our lead technical expert, Paul Steffens, and today's master builder is Hayden Hutchinson. I'm sorry, no, he's in the hospital. That's right, never mind. It's Zack. I got so used to my Tuesday script, and I just went straight on with it. It's Zack Killingsworth. Unfortunately, yeah, Hayden decided to try and be much closer to Anakin Skywalker than we had thought. So there we go. Hi. So standing in from Zack, we've got it's our final show before PAX. We are all flying out tomorrow, heading to the wonderful city of Hayden is hated. Jesus, Ivory. So we'll be in Boston coming up starting tomorrow. Throughout the day, we'll be landing tomorrow. We'll be there all weekend long. If you would like to come up and say hi, please introduce yourself. We'd love to see you and hear your stories and at least get some pictures. In the meantime, though, we are still working towards finding out who's going to win that incredible PC that you can see standing between the guys right there with the brand new ARC A770 graphics card. It's going to be amazing. To find out more, all you have to do is type !GiveCube. Now that's QUBE, and you'll be able to find out how to enter. There's lots of different ways, and if you're quick and you're fast, there's also codes that we can get. We're also still running. There's codes we can give out, and there are still codes to be given. Plus, if we hit that community goal, which I'm going to go to right now, we are 83% there. I'm going to give another 2,000. There we go. And if we get to 200,000, we got more codes to drop, and this time I won't put it into a sentence. So I'll explain about that in just a few. In the meantime, gentlemen, we have got Michael in Virginia who ordered something ridiculous.
Yeah, so...
And by ridiculous, I mean awesome.
Yeah, this is a pretty awesome build. This build probably has the most storage of a build that we've ever done on the show. Yeah. Excuse me. So yeah, Michael custom configured a raw on our website. So starting off, we got an i9-13900K with a 360 AIO. We got an MSI Z690 Carbon Wi-Fi with DDR5. 32 gigs of that DDR5-5200 speed. 2 terabyte NVMe drive for our main drive, and then an 8 terabyte storage drive for our mechanical drive. So 10 terabytes of storage. A 4090, an O11 XL ROG in black. 10 RGB fans and a 1,000-watt power supply. So I'll go ahead and grab the case.
Ridiculous. And something I noticed about this case, so it's interesting, when I saw the picture of it, I thought it was a different case than it really is. So normally when we see these, they are in the silvers or the white ones that have, or the designed ones. So that bar on the left-hand side where you see all the ports on it is usually another color, which makes it seem a little bit shorter. But today, with it being an all-black build, it actually makes the case look taller.
It does, you're right.
And when I looked at it on the website, I thought, well, what's this? This is a brand new raw case. And then I realized, no, it's just a black raw case. Okay. So we've got that going in there. Let's go ahead and get started with this.
All right, so yeah, I'm gonna start pulling these panels off. Zach's got the motherboard here, so he'll start working on that.
Don't forget, if you have questions about anything you see or hear here today, please throw it into the chat. We'll get to them as quickly as possible and as thoroughly as possible. Yeah, we have 10 terabytes of storage going into this baby today. 10! So yeah, here we go. This is a beautiful motherboard. Let's go ahead and start with the basics on this. We've got an MSI MPG Z690 Carbon Wi-Fi motherboard. This thing is wicked when it comes. So walk us through some of the coolest things that you're noticing about this so far, Zach.
Yes, so this has lots of heat shields for M.2s, heat pipes up on the north bridge. Just everything is very heated. We've got reinforced PCI slots. Just everything about this is screaming pretty epic.
Well, and it's also got, I noticed it's got this double-digit reader up on the very top right corner. What's that for?
Yes, so that displays codes in the user manual that will pump out either alphabets or numbers, and depending on if anything is wrong in the system, you can flash to your manual and see what's going on with it.
Absolutely. Nice. It's also got a lot of LEDs. This is a very well lit board. If you'll notice the word carbon down on the bottom, it lights up along with the Dragon, of course, the notable MSI Dragon up on the top. I have an MSI Dragon hat that I think I got at PAX South 2018. Nice. It's the cutest thing in the world. Tons of ports on this for accessibility. Walk us through what you're seeing there.
Yeah, so we've got, so right here for our I/O, we've got 9 Type A USBs, 1 Type C. We've got the 2.5 gigahertz LAN port and 2 video outputs. We are using, with the processor we're using, we don't need a video card to get video out of this. So if the customer did want to take the video card out and use it for something else, you could use these video ports for video. Obviously, it wouldn't be the best for gaming, but they are usable.
Yeah. So yeah, it's got USB 3.2s, it's got 1 Type C, 5 Gen 2 Type A's, and then 4 different USB 2.0 ports. And that's on top of everything that it's going to be connecting from the front. So and just to add into that, since you've got it right there, let's show everybody what kind of ports you've got access to and where they're at on this case.
Yeah, so looking at the front of this case, we've got 2 Type A USBs right here, a headset and mic port, a Type C, and then if we go all the way down here to the bottom, we've got 2 more Type A USBs. So we've got a total of 5 USB ports on the front. Plenty to do there if you want to plug in, you know, something to the front of your PC.
This is a peripheral magnet.
Yeah.
Everything you can think of to push into this. Interesting thing about this board is its connectivity comes with both Bluetooth 5.2 and it's keyed for Wi-Fi 6E. So all the fun stuff. It is a DDR5 memory board, which does, I think it maxes out for overclocking at 6666. It's a little terrifying, and you know, I've seen The Exorcist, but there we go. Now, the one thing I can say about the advanced features of this board is that this board, unlike, I would say, the standard case, this is can take up to 192 megs of RAM. Or gigs of RAM, excuse me. 192 gigs, that's a ton. What kind of purpose would you need that that kind of memory for?
So if you're wanting that type of memory, you've probably got a workstation going, something like that. Potentially a server if you're wanting to run, you know, maybe your home network, turn this into a server, you'd want that much memory. Not really needed for much gaming, nothing that high, so. Yeah.
Unless you're game developing. Here you go.
Yeah, developing.
Medium temperance asked what this is an O11 full tower. So similar to, but again, it looks a little bit different just because it's solid color, so it's one giant brick. Kensu, hello. Yeah, Uchukithi, rendering, yes, that would be that. You got 192 or 196 gigs of RAM, 192 gigs of RAM. That puppy will render real quick, especially with solid states. Can you imagine what you could do with DaVinci Pro or Premiere on this thing?
Yeah, that would
My
be
gosh.
awesome.
Right? I'm more of a DaVinci guy, even though I used to work for Adobe. I still like DaVinci's product a little bit better. I feel like it's a little easier, more functional to use.
Yeah, I've been using DaVinci a bit, and that's the first type of that software that I've ever used, and I thought it was pretty good.
So ironically, way back in the day, when I had hair, I used to work for Adobe Software Systems. I started as a customer service agent and then went into their training and helped write the technical support training modules for technical support technicians who were in training.
Nice.
Okay.
Because I got tired of the repeat stupid questions and kept submitting like, hey, this could have all been handled in one call, and I made them call back 7 times. This is absurd. What's wrong with you guys? One call resolution. Just all you need is one call. So, which is nice about CLX because our customer service is awesome. Okay, so you got the bracket on the back. Let's talk about what we're going to be plugging onto that. That is going to be an Enermax, which you know how much we love those. An Enermax Liqmax 3 ARGB 360 closed loop AIO.
Yeah,
Now,
so
what
I've got
sets
that
this apart
here.
from, say, from like a Fantex?
So the biggest difference between those is going to be your pump that's in here. The radiator is going to be pretty, like, almost identical. And then in the mounting hardware that we're using to get this. You can see Zack was putting that together. The Enermax has the most...
intricate?
Intricate is a good word for it, for their mounting brackets. Not really a huge fan of them, but they do work. There's just a lot of moving pieces that go into that. So you've got a plate with the screws go through the plate, and then they lock down. And then as you can see, Zack is putting the correct hardware onto the pump to mount to this. This does come with different size hardware for this, so it could fit on an AM5 board as well.
Gotcha. All right. Now, interestingly enough, there is also... I did not realize that we offered the Lian Lees. We also carry Lian Lee Galahads.
That is a brand new thing, I believe.
Okay, because I just noticed on the website, I was like, yeah, I want to make sure I'm saying the name right. And then all of a sudden, there's the Galahad by Lian Lee. It's just interesting. So I'll be excited for us to put one of those in a machine soon.
Those ones are really cool, and the fans on those are even, like, so impressive. Like, we've had some that we've been testing here, and the fans, like, click together, and there's metal that makes contact for connection, so you just have one fan header, one fan to plug in, and you can just click them all together, and they become one piece. It's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it'll be cool to get one.
Does it have a really cool pump cover, or?
Yeah, it does. It's circular. It says Lian Lee on it. They give you a nice, like, magnet that you can stick on it if you want to cover up the Lian Lee. Nothing too crazy, but, you know, it's RGB and all that good stuff.
So I see the door has been flipped open, and since nothing's going to be flying out, let's go ahead and put something in there. We're going to be plugging in the Intel Core i9-13900K processor. This is a wicked fast processor. It's the fastest they make next to the KS.
Okay.
So we are without the macro today, though, because we've got to start packing. Yeah. Perfect, as you can see.
And so our diamond is in the bottom corner here, and there's two little knocks on the bottom and on the top for alignment.
Nice. And just as a quick eyeballs, we are now at 85%, 15% left to go, with only a few shows left in the month, and I think we can pull it off if everybody drops 2K of points on that, or as many points as you can. You can do up to $2,000 points a day, or 2,000 points a show. That's what it is. All right, we're getting that Enermax all connected onto here. What are some features of liquid coolers, and can you go through the different ways of cooling a CPU and why that's important?
Yeah, so there's two main ways to cool your CPU. You've got either air cooling or liquid cooling. So an air cooler would be like the stock fan that comes with some CPUs. It's usually just a piece of metal, either aluminum or some copper in there with a fan on top of it. That just plugs into the fan header, and that's how it goes. The heat from your processor soaks up in the metal, the fan blows the heat away. Then we have our liquid coolers, which perform quite a bit better than air coolers. You can buy an aftermarket air cooler that's pretty good, but liquid coolers are pretty much always going to be better. So what we've got here is an AIO, which stands for an all-in-one, which means, as you can see us installing it here, this was brand new out of box. You just install the hardware, put the pump in, and that's it. We'll plug in this fan header you can see Zack working on here, and that's all we'll need to do. We'll obviously mount some fans to the radiator, but very easy to install and provides great cooling. This is also referred to as a closed loop system, since we're not going to be opening up the loop in any way. The coolant's already in the radiator. We don't need to add anything to it. We also do open loops here, which are the real fancy, where we build, we design the tubes and we'll custom bend those here based on your system. You'll either have like a plate that you'll put on your processor, a video card, a bunch of fittings. It looks really good. Those are a lot more labor intensive though.
Gotcha. Well, I'm excited for us to finally be able to do one of those soon, too.
Yeah, yeah. We will definitely get one of those on the show.
Now, one of the things that's really cool about this build and this design is all of the heat sinks. There are multiples on this board, which makes it an extremely efficient board. But walk us through what we're doing right now. This is obviously for the M.2 that we're going to be plugging in there. What are some things you notice about these plates and how they're arranged and how they're aligned?
Yeah, so with this top one here, it's a pretty standard plate. What's nice is it's got this locking mechanism, so we don't have to screw it in. You can see Zach will just put this in, push it down, and slide that notch over, and it'll hold it in place. Something to point out for this heat shield, obviously we took the plastic off for the thermal pad. That's going to give us good heat transfer, so if you're installing an M.2, make sure you take off the plastic on this thermal pad. The other thing to note is it's got this hole right here, you can see. Try to get it, there we go. And the reason that's there is you can see right here we have a motherboard mounting hole screw. And so that hole's there, so when this thing sits on top, we can still put that screw in.
Which is a very nice feature.
And then I'm going to assume that the rest of the M.2 covers are under that lower shield.
Yep. So we've probably got two or three, or yeah, we probably got 2 slots under here and then 2 more slots over here.
Yeah, there's a total of 5 M.2 slots on this board, which is wild.
Yeah, plenty of space.
Yeah,
for more
lots of spots. Speaking of M.2s, because you just put that in there, right?
Yes.
Okay, so and that M.2 is a 2 terabyte Kingston NV1 M.2 NVMe SSD. Also, guess what? Shout out 190,000 points raised. We're so close, people. We're so close. We have got 5 more people to go.
We're gonna get there
5 more 2,000 bids. We're gonna get there. I did have a question coming in from the Cyclone 117, Master Chief's number. What are y'all's thoughts on the Intel A770s? Since y'all are giving away a computer with one in it soon. That's a good question.
Yeah, so just my initial thoughts when they were launching it, I really like that their first GPUs are focused on the mid-tier as opposed to trying to beat a 4090 or something crazy high-end. I think it's targeted for most gamers, most consumers, and it seems to be a really good video card. Obviously, it's going to have some hiccups at the beginning. It's the first one. But we really like it here. Like I said, I like that it's comparative to a 3060. 3060 is a great card, obviously, as well. So just having it, and I like that it's in that range, you know. It's pretty accessible.
Mr. Dark Knight, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. All righty, next up, we've got some RAM we're going to throw in there. Let's take a look at it. We're talking about 2 16-gig sticks of, now is it Geil?
Yeah,
Geil.
I always say
DDR
Geil. I hope that's right.
Yeah, right. It is a Geil DDR5-5200 for a total of 32 gigs. This is some really fast RAM, as we've talked about before. The max I think that they make currently is 6,000 for RAM.
That's the most that I've seen that you can get from the factory. So
yeah. Yep. All right, now we're going to pop on some fans. We've got a bunch of fans here today, not just in chat, but also for the computer. There are 10 CLX RGB fans, and these are great because not only do the blades light up, the circular housings light up.
Yeah,
and Zach's going to be popping those on there. So let's talk about the airflow process and the concept behind it when it comes to how these all function.
Yeah, so if you're looking at a fan, the way to tell which way the air is going to flow is one side is going to look like this, usually referred to as the pretty side, the nice looking side. And then on the back here, we've got the grill. Now, wherever side this grill is on, that's where the air is going to be coming out of. So if you're looking at the grill this way, like if I'm pointing at the camera, the air is going to be blowing at you. So what we want to do when we're mounting fans to the radiator, there's a couple ways we can do it. You can see how Zach has them on here. We could also mount them to this underside, but we want to be, our preferred method is to be pushing air through the radiator. So you can see these are on this side. You can see there's no grill here, so we know air is going to be coming through the radiator. If we had them on the other side and they were in the same orientation, that would be pulling air through, which still does work and it will function, but pushing is always better than pulling. And then if you had room in your case and you wanted to throw in extra fans, you could do a push-pull and have 3 fans on one side and 3 fans on the other.
Nice. Nice. So we're getting that on there, and that's going to be going up into the top of the machine. Now, I'm not sure, I may have missed it, but how many different ways are there of pushing or pulling the air through the radiator?
Yeah, so really there's 3 different ways. You can have it like this, where we're pushing, or if we had them on the other side, with none on this side, that would be pulling, or you can do both, and that'd be a push-pull.
Got it. Okay. Are there any advantages to doing one over the other?
So pushing is always what you want to do if you're just going to have fans on one side or the other. You will get better cooling that way. If you're in a situation where you have to have them pull through the radiator, that's fine. It will work. It just won't perform as well as pushing through. And then if you have the space, you can do a push-pull, which is, you know, best case scenario. There really is a big difference in doing that.
And always make sure that you are pushing and pulling, not pushing and pushing or pulling and pulling, because that's going to be really problematic.
Yeah, that would be, I don't even know what would happen. Your computer
like
would
when you
explode.
try.
No, it wouldn't do that. But.
It's the end of the world.
All right.
All righty.
Ready to mount
so
this
what's
into
next?
The case. So I'll get the case up here. We'll lay this down. Oh,
Perfect.
And just because I don't think we've done it in a minute, can you go ahead and point out the standoffs on the case and then show us what holes need to be oriented for those standoffs?
Yeah, so I can show you here from the front, and we'll go to our overhead shot in just a sec. You can see these that I'm pointing to with my pencil, or my pen. These are the standoffs in the case. So that is what
like little risers.
Yep, exactly. So that's what our motherboard is actually going to be sitting on. Our motherboard won't be touching any of this metal here. It's going to be sitting on these specific standoffs. And what that does is these line up with the holes on the motherboard for us to mount the motherboard, and it prevents the motherboard from sitting on this metal and shorting anything out. So you can see there's some other holes here, and these would be for other size motherboards. So this is an ATX board, so we've got 3 in the top, 3 in the middle, and 3 in the bottom. That's what we want to see.
So you can change the motherboard standoffs.
Yeah, yeah. Some cases won't come with any installed, so you'll actually have to install them yourself. Most cases nowadays, though, are coming with them installed in the right configuration of the case. So, but let's say we had one here and we didn't take this out before we installed this motherboard. That could short out our motherboard. Worst case scenario, it fries the whole thing. Best case, it just causes minor issues. But either way, that's a really hard problem to troubleshoot if you're just having some weird intermittent issues. So Zach will go ahead and put this on there.
If you'll notice, as he's getting that IO shield lined up right there, I love the fact this has its built-in IO shield into the cooler. But you'll notice those standoffs all line up with each of the holes that are surrounded by like silver rivets, it looks like.
Yeah, there's silver little solder lands on there. And so when the screw tightens down, the round part of the screw is going to connect with those, and this will create a good grounding point for those screws. You can see that right here.
So it's safe to say that the standoffs they don't transmit any type of electricity. They're a good padding.
Yeah, it's a good grounding point. So anywhere on this case, anywhere that you touch on this frame here is going to ground yourself. So if you're ever working in a case and you're like on carpet or whatever, you can always ground yourself by just touching the side of the case.
Nice. All right, there we go. Getting that all in there. I decided to have a little competition for my subscribers on Sunday during the DJ set because I was going to give away a code for 25 people who were subscribers, and of course subscribers get access to my subscriber thread in the Discord, and so I made a puzzle out of it.
Oh, nice.
I made a puzzle out of it, and I had my friend James say, I asked him how the orchestra was, because earlier I'd said I'm going to type it out in here, but I'm going to leave you clues. And I mentioned that it's unfortunate sometimes you can't get to our shows, especially for my friends in the UK and Australia. I had a friend who was had tickets to the Junior Trans Queensland Orchestra, which is an actual orchestra that it's from musicians in high school or primary school all the way across Queensland in Australia. So, but the code was JTQO. And I had to come up with something that I could say that, and it was a fairly difficult run. I'll be honest, but I love making up weird puzzles. And then of course I finally just dropped the code in the chat. I was like, here you go. Not in the general chat, but over in the subscriber chat. We're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
All right, we need 3 more people. 3 more people to donate their 2,000 points in here. All we have to do is you click on the little point register down below, and then you'll see where it says community code giveaway. Now, if we do this, I believe we're doing just 1, or is it 2? I'm waiting. I'll wait for Ivory to confirm. We're either going to give away 1 or 2 of these codes, and these codes are, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, these are full on. Everybody can grab them. Cool. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. I did just get confirmation. They are both used. No, that's 200 entries for everybody who's in this chat right now. How fun! Hi, Danny Butt. What's going on? It's in a cold world. That's hilarious. I love it. Wait, is that Nicole?
Yeah, it is.
Wait, how many different accounts do you have?
Oh, maybe it's not. I thought it was.
Okay.
Yes.
It's got that.
So glad to have you all here.
You know?
They are all either getting their baggage or getting ready to get into the car and head over to the hotels. There we go. Yes. You have 2. Perfect. 1 for regular, 1 for mobile. All right. Now, since we've got a great shot here of the back, I would love it, Paul, if you would walk everyone through what those 3 different doors are on the back of this case.
Yeah, so you can see, we'll start at the bottom here. So you can see on the bottom, we've got this hole right here, and this is where we're going to be mounting our power supply. Now, like you have mentioned before in the show, you can see the motherboard sits up, not at the very bottom of the case, but about 2/3 of the way down. And so that allows us to mount some stuff back here and then keep the heat from these components outside the main area of the case. So the power supply is going to intake from the back side where you're seeing Zack work right now and exhaust out this hole. So none of that heat will come into the main part of the case.
That's such a handy design too.
It is.
It makes sense. It's one of those things that when you see designs like this, especially when you're talking about like with those hotspot bays, it's funny that nobody thought about doing this before. And I love that Lian Lee has made this a constant. Oh my God, we've done a community challenge completed. Holy crap, 200,000 points contributed by all of you incredible people, which means you're getting access to 200 entries across the board, no user limit. So, I mean, you can only use it once per person, but everybody gets it. So we'll get those out here shortly, and I won't even make puzzles about it.
Nice.
Ish. Nice. All right. So, walk us through this these hotspot bays.
So so I pulled off the door here. You can see right here on this part. Yep. So I pulled off that cover here that I've got in my hand. Looks like the one that's right above it. So you can see kind of 2 trays in there, and that's where our hard drives are going to mount. So we can mount a 2.5-inch or a 3.5-inch drive in there, and these are actually hot swappable bays. So I've got one that Zack has taken out of a case to show you guys. So this is what's sitting in that slot, obviously with trays. So we've got wires coming out of the back. We've got our SATA data and our SATA power. So the SATA data are going to be plugged into our motherboard, and the SATA power is. And what that's going to allow us to do is just slide a hard drive in. It's going to make connection with the SATA ports inside there. And that's all you have to do. You won't have to run any wires if you want to add drives to this. So you can see deep down in there, those are the connections.
Yeah.
So
great shot, too.
And so there's 2 bays in there. Each bay can hold 2 drives, so we've got room for 4 extra drives in there. Obviously, we're going to have a giant drive in there, so we'll have 3 extras for this build.
Yeah, and if you want to pull that out and get that started on the tray, I will talk about that here real quick. This is pretty impressive. Let's be honest. It's an 8 terabyte, 3.5-inch, and this is Seagate Barracuda. Yeah, Seagate Barracuda, 8 terabyte. Now that is 8,000 gigs. 8,000. So technically, you could install Call of Duty Warzone 5 times.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
All
right. There we go.
So yeah, we've got our 8 terabyte drive here. This thing is a lot heavier than it seems. Obviously, as the storage goes up, the weight goes up.
Thank you, PlayStation Loco. I appreciate it. But right, only 5. I always found it interesting that the game just kept getting bigger. Same thing with Master Chief Collection, just kept getting bigger. But, you know, the more you have in a game, the more it requires for space. Nightclaw's in the house. Welcome. Nightclaw is going to be meeting us along with her sister, Ms. Wolverine, both Griff Ballers from the Respawn All-Stars and the Play Griffball community. They are going to be meeting us in Boston for PAX East. It's going to be so much fun.
Nice.
So much fun. Got lots of restaurants to go. Shastow's going to be there with us. So we got our group. We're going to go find food, barbecue, sushi, seafood. Lots of fun things. The grommets that we see on this case are always great for me to talk about, because when you look at some of the designs of older cases, there isn't a grommet. It's just a hole, and it always looks so awkward. But with this, you barely see it. It all blends in so well, and especially when you've got that back on it, it's wonderful.
Yeah, it really is. We really like seeing these grommets on cases. It's starting to be a more common practice now. Just really helps with managing your cables, and they can fit in between those little slots there, and yeah, it just looks really good rather than some giant silver hole like you were saying.
Yep, absolutely. And of course, this also goes into one of the things I love pointing out about these cases is this was what I called a 2/3 design. Oftentimes, like back in the day, and still in some cases today, you'll see PCs that have a motherboard loaded into the very back, and it's right on the back of the case. Now, it doesn't allow for a whole lot of airflow when it's like that, but this is the 2/3 design. Not only does it keep your I/O right there, almost in the middle, you've got that gap in the back for the hotspot bays, your power supply. Does this affect how the case cools in any meaningful way?
Somewhat. So like I said, I mean, this hard drive is obviously not going to be generating that much heat, but the heat from it will be kept on the back side. But the biggest thing is the power supply being on there. Once again, power supplies don't typically generate a ton of heat, but there is some, and so it'll get its own intake from the back and exhaust out the rear. You
know, as Ivory is definitely fond of saying, that's a grab job explaining that.
Yeah.
Oh, he's in an Uber typing people. It's like, I hate you all right now. Okay, so Zach's working on some of the cabling, I'm going to assume, for the fans at the moment.
Case still.
Case, okay, gotcha. What are some of the first things that you want to hook up and make sure that you've hooked up correctly when you're putting these together?
So you want to make sure that when you are plugging in well, a lot of cases will like supply like a USB type C, and some motherboards don't have that, so having right adapters is nice, but this motherboard right here has a type C on, so that's a nice thing to just have a direct plug for.
Sweet. Awesome. Dark Hunter said, I was glad to donate what was left for the gold. Alex reminded me on Twitter to join, otherwise I would have spaced that there was a Twitch stream today. Yep. And now, granted, we won't have one Thursday because we will be live on the show floor at PAX, but our show is normally every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 a.m. Specific? 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 Eastern. Jesus, I'm doing well today. There we go. Deco Gamer, well done. A lot of people forget that's an actual command. All right. Now, interestingly enough, they chose the white version. It's interesting because we see this often with the white hoses for the AIOs, and they really have a tendency to reflect the lighting from all of the different fans. So.
Yeah, the white really stands out in the black case for sure, and you know, it might seem a little off. You might want a black radiator, but the white radiator and the white tube specifically really help the RGB inside this case.
Okay. More fans.
More fans.
There we go. Now, he's pulling off that bottom tray, which is going to be for the intake fans, and right below that is a little tray. Paul, could you pull that out for me?
Yeah. So
what's this tray for? How does this work?
So like I said, these are intake fans. So this tray right here is going to be our dust filter for those fans. So we'll be bringing air up in through the bottom, and this will prevent all that pet hair, dust, all that stuff from coming in. You obviously saw me slide it out. That's how easy it is to take out and clean, and putting it back in is the same way. That's it.
One thing to also notice on that brilliant side, way to break stuff, Zach. On that side shot is the feet. There's a great gap that's underneath the Lian Li cases that allows for really good airflow. One thing you want to remember when you're choosing where your PC is going to sit, you want to make sure you've got proper cable length for your peripherals, but also you want to be careful with what you're sitting it on. If you're sitting on carpet, that's going to prevent and limit some of that airflow, especially if you've got a thick plush or carpet. You also risk potential static electric discharge affecting your components. So, Paul, what are some great ways to avoid that and to make sure that you've got proper airflow as well?
Yeah, so the best thing you can do is to just get a flat, hard surface to put on the carpet and then put your case on. So like at my house, I just cut out a rectangle of cardboard that's a little bit bigger than my case. Put that on the ground, then put my case on that, and that way that cardboard compresses the carpet and I still get the nice gap for my case to breathe. Cardboard's obviously the cheapest. If you got a piece of wood laying around, you could cut down, you know, some tiles, anything to really compress the carpet that isn't your case doing it.
Yep. Absolutely agree. I use tiles for mine, which has worked out great. Doesn't crack, doesn't break, solid. But yeah, although I will say when I get my new PC, I'm gonna have to completely redesign my entire stream space.
Oh yeah.
Just because like right now you can't see my PCs. I'm a full green screen streamer, and I'll be honest, I'm gonna wanna show that thing off. I want to put that thing on a Lazy Susan and just have it spin in circles.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I don't think that's a possibility because cable management, but
yeah, you need like a gyroscope or something, you know.
Right. Twitch Jordan, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the channel. Glad to have you. Dirty Yankee, yes, we got it, Dirty Yankee, and the codes are up top. They both start with cube. One is Texas J6. That's Texas 6J, TX6J. The other one is, wait, I can't even read all of it because it's so small, is CGUF, College Guys Under Fire. The name of my, no. Just jokes that don't need to be made. There we go. TX, there we go, Native Temperance just threw that in there as well. So make sure you grab those. There's 200 entries for everybody. 200, and everybody gets to cash those in who's here in this stream. We're super excited about it. Very, very happy about that. Obviously, the return of Power Tools to the Tuesday show is a unique feature.
What?
Yeah.
I'm just making sure that Paul's going to get a fresh battery for his Boston build.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I will be taking the Power Tools with me.
Well, and Paul, you're going to be making a special appearance for a very special event. Can you tell us what that'll be?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it too. I don't have the exact details, but we are going to be doing a live show. So very excited to be doing that. Yeah, I don't even know. I'm really excited to do it.
Yep, I believe it's with Robitech, and so anybody knows Roby's builds. In fact, Roby built my streaming PC.
Oh, really?
So,
okay.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I'm
when I got back from
I've been watching his videos. He's got some really good content on YouTube. Like I was watching, they had a 13900 KS they were doing with Marcus from Intel, who happened to also be on this show a while back. And they were using they were in like an ice bar, like using that to cool it. It was a good episode.
That's awesome. Okay, I've got that side group on. So what direction are those side fans going to be blowing in, and how is that going to affect the airflow for the case?
All right, so yeah, these are going to be intake as well. So the quick way to tell is you can see this black fan grill. So you know air is going to be coming in this way. So we're going to have 3 intakes on the back, 3 intakes on the bottom, then 3 exhaust on the top coming out through the radiator, and then another one here in the back. So we're going to have 6 intakes and 4 exhausts.
Intakes through the back? What do you mean? Does that mean the rear is vented?
Yes, absolutely. So let me grab that rear panel for you. And we'll show you the filters that are on it as well. So every opening on this case has a dust filter around it, which is really nice, or every spot that you're going to be bringing air in, I should say. So this is the back panel for there.
Wow, it's very perforated.
Yep, yep, on both sides. And I'll turn it over here. If we go, yeah, perfect shot. So you can see each one of these has a magnetic dust filter that comes off like this. We got one on both sides. And the reason we got one on both sides is obviously we have these 3 intake fans here. This is going to sit on the case like this. But we're also going to have our power supply intaking down here. And so this is also going to have a filter for that.
Gotcha. Well, that's smart design.
Mm-hmm. The power of magnets.
Zach is about to yell at the controller box.
Yeah, these controller boxes can be kind of funky sometimes. So we got a 10 fan configuration here, like we mentioned, and for these fans, the fan controller box can only power 8 fans at a time. But what we can do is take 2 controller boxes, daisy chain them together, and then, you know, we could have up to 16 or whatever. So we're gonna have 8 on the first fan box and then 2 on the second one.
PlayStation Local asks if they have HEPA dust filters for PCs.
That's a good question. I don't know if any of them are HIPAA approved. I would imagine there's, you know, something you could find, maybe an aftermarket one to put on your PC, but I don't know that.
Zach's hair flip, yes, and he's flipping his hair back and forth. You know, what's it like having hair?
Oh,
guy. I mean, honestly, though, I have a feeling your shampoo bill is definitely much more than mine.
We just let it go all natural.
There we go. It's like, I just wash it with bar soap. It's Irish Spring or nothing. I don't even think you can. Can you do that?
I don't know.
Why not?
Soap,
right?
I still use bar soap for my body, but not my hair.
Soap.
I got me some of that hippie soap. That doesn't do anything to your skin. I like it. I was worried it would dry you out, you know, so I bought 1 bar. I was like, we'll see how this goes. Because anytime you use regular bar soap, you get out of the shower and your skin feels like cracked concrete. But this stuff that I'm using is pretty good. We
have a gal here at the farmer's market in Portland that happens right down the street from our house, and she makes all of her own soaps, and they're wonderful.
Yeah, that's basically what I get. Some of those kinds.
Yep.
Smell great.
I'm going to be bringing one of them with me because I can't. My skin just turns into dried, gross. If I use hotel soaps. The hotel soaps are awful.
The hotel, no way.
I don't. Now, granted, I don't know. This hotel might be different. They might have some really couture stuff, but yeah,
maybe.
Otherwise, I'm gonna need a lot of lotion.
Yeah.
Bougie soap or no soap?
Yeah.
Bougie or nothing.
I hate that, especially in the wintertime. Like, I shower in the morning, so like in the wintertime, you don't come to work, and then my skin is just like your fingers are cracking. I always get it around my knuckles, like my pinky knuckles always get the worst.
When I way back in the day, when I was managing a pizza restaurant, you're always handling cardboard boxes, and I never realized how much moisture is sucked out of your hand by cardboard. It's wild. I used to have to use Cornhuskers lotion. You ever heard of Cornhuskers lotion? It's really, really good for your hands. It's like this clear gel. It's made out of corn, and it's super helpful in keeping the cracks down. But yeah, if I clapped too hard, I would crack my hands and they'd start bleeding. It was weird.
Oh man, yeah.
But you're folding 150 boxes at a whack. So
yeah, and then those cardboard paper cuts are the worst.
Oh,
I've gotten that here, just opening boxes here, and it's like, how?
Yep. Yeah, it's thick. Why is this cutting me? What the heck? What did I do wrong? Why do you hate me so much? Zombie Rain says there was a nice hotel I stayed at in Seattle that had like the best soap you ever used. Nice. Those are always good when they step up there. Let's not just put crappy bar soap. They've got the 3 punch bowl push down things. Yeah. So, and you've got unlimited lotion. That's a plus. All right, getting those cables all addressed back in the back for the fans. You can see he's zip tied both of those controller boxes together. That way it's easier to manage. It also keeps everything in one spot.
Correct.
Oatmeal soup.
Yeah, that'd be good too.
I did an oatmeal bath one time. It was weird.
Yeah, my soap's got oatmeal in it. Some of the bars I get do. Or
Goat milk?
oats. I guess it's not oatmeal, but just oats.
It's oatmeal. If you get hungry, it's already cooked.
You got a snack in the shower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question coming in from War Machine Lord. Is the Ryzen 5 5600X a good CPU? It's what I'm looking at for my price range. It's a good question.
Yeah, so I mean, good CPU is definitely relative, but I would definitely call it a good CPU. Ryzen 5s are great for that mid-tier gaming. You know, you could probably max out your frames anything in 1080 with that. And then if you're wanting to go up to 2K, 4K, you know, you could probably get 60 frames. Obviously, it depends on the application, but yeah, I would say it's a good CPU.
And I'll be honest, I used it for my streaming PC. I use the AMD Ryzen 5 3600X, and that's it's wicked. I barely ever go over 20%, and that's running 3 monitors and all of my peripherals, OBS, Discord. Right now I've got probably 5 browser windows open. So I dig it.
Yeah, I typically lean toward the Intel side for my stuff. I just like running Intel, but with the Ryzens that are coming out, they're great too. Those Ryzen 5, the 5th gen, the 3rd gen was really good.
That's
and
what I'm
obviously
on, is the 36.
the 36, yeah. Ryzen 3rd gen, they made some changes, and I think it was how it interacted with your system memory, if I remember right. And it was really, it added a lot of performance. So, you know, I'm at the point where I don't think either side is bad. AMD and Intel, like both are good in my opinion.
Yep. I personally, I game on Intel. And then I will produce on like production for AMD. But I may be going a full Intel build like across both when the new PC gets here.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, I have the option of using a Ryzen 5 3600X or what would my gaming PC, my current gaming PC, which is a 9900K. I feel like there's a considerable performance difference between those two.
Yeah, for sure.
Just a scotch. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a really good upgrade.
So
900K is still a beast, but.
Oh yeah, this thing's wonderful. I do know that if I downgraded everything and went to 1080p instead of 1440, I would be able to probably double my frames per second.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And put things at a higher quality level. I just like it at 1440p.
1440p looks so good.
Yeah, it does.
It looks so good. Like,
all right,
for me,
so,
it's easier to tell the difference between 1080p and 1440 than 1440 and 4K. Like, I feel like you see a bigger difference between 1080 and 2K.
Massive difference. Well, and then I compress everything when I stream, because I stream at 864 instead of 1080p. So I've got a little higher bit. So it gives a little bit deeper bit rate. I can do it at a higher bit rate and get more data through for the stream. And with the AverMedia cards, it compresses that 1440 image down into 1080, and then OBS will take it from 1080 and compress it down to 864. So you got 1440 worth of clarity in an 864 image, which is why things look so clean.
Okay.
Paul's taking notes for his stream.
Yep. Don't mind.
Oh
me.
yeah. When we moved over here from Mixer, I had to make some major changes to bandwidth approach, because on Mixer I was running 1080p at a uncapped output for bitrate, so it was real time, and I mean my bitrate would jump between 8 and 10,000. But the picture was flawless. It had a great upload speed, but Twitch is different because they limit if you're an affiliate, they limit your bandwidth, or at least try to. Let's see here.
Last one.
Intel 750 or 770? Oh, Your only bottleneck is the GPU, so you're still going to be running your 750 Ti. Can't afford anything. New prices are ridiculous. And yeah, definitely take a peek at the 750 or 770 by Intel.
They did do a price drop last I heard.
Yeah, prices are coming down. And then also, you know, keep an eye on the 3060. Whenever the 4060 comes out, you know, most likely there's going to be a price drop on the 3060.
Let's see here. Twitch Jordan, when is the next PC giveaway? So we'll be drawing for the winner of the Intel Arc-based PC at the end of the month. That's going to be a week from this coming Friday. A week from this coming Friday. And I know that we've got shows next week, Tuesday and Thursday, where we'll give out where there may be more codes given. I will have my final 5 people code. It's going to be for the first 5 people to get it, and it will be in a coded format on Friday, the 31st of March. So we're going to let whoever can figure out the puzzle get that through. Twitch Jordan, all you have to do is type exclamation give cube, and like it's written in the title of the show, and it'll bring you to the link. Now, I did notice something really fun. Paul's flexing over there with the heavyweights, also known as a Gigabyte 4090 by NVIDIA. It's an RTX 4090 card that is a 24 gig, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, 24 gig card. This thing is massive. So this also comes with an anti-sag bracket that Zach's working on right now. So he's getting the hardware for that. These pieces, we'll show that a little bit more once he gets in there. But yeah, let's get this card out and take a look at it. Yeah, this thing is a beast.
Uh-oh. Did I type it wrong? No. Oh, there it is. It took a second for Nightbot to get it together. Now, this is a big boy card. Look at the size of that sucker.
Yeah, this is a big boy right here.
So what are some big takeaways from the design here, especially given that massive cooling chamber?
Yeah, so the big thing here is these fans are huge for video card fans. Really big. You can see there's RGB down in there as well for this to light up. Nice back plate on this thing. Lots of fans, or lots of fins for the heat sink. I'll show those in a bit. Let me peel this plastic back. So yeah, if we look in here, you can see those copper heat pipes running through.
There's
and
a
these
bunch
fins
of
are
them.
tall. Yeah, there is a lot going on in here. Something else to point out too. So this is all, the heat pipes extend out through here where you can see all these fins. But there's no PCB there, and this is actually just to help bring the air out, or bring the heat out and cool it. You can kind of, I'm trying to get in a position where you can kind of see my hands.
Oh yeah, you can see right through right there.
So this is all
That's
just
wild.
so the heat will extend all the way down to this card and get blown out there.
Absolutely incredible. Graphics cards are always such a weird thing. Only because they require so much cooling, and there's just so little to them.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about it. So let's take a look at an older card, but it is our display card.
There's still some plastic.
We're showing people how it works.
Yeah, so I've got an old 1050 Ti here. If you're a fan of the show, you've seen this card before. So this one is dead and out of warranty, so I've taken it apart to use as an example. So what we're showing here is that this video card, this is all that a video card is right here, this thin PCB. If I were to take that big cooler off that Gigabyte card, the PCB would be the exact same, might be a little bit longer, but this is all it is. You can see where the thermal paste is that's sitting on the GPU, and then you can see the memory chips around here as well. And so the cool thing to see about this, when you're looking at a video card that size, the size is all coming from the heatsink and the fans, and so it's just to deal with the amount of heat that card can generate.
Nice. And this thing, obviously, gigantic as it is considerably larger. It's also considerably more powerful. You know, a jump from a 1050 Ti to a 4090, that's wild.
Yeah, that's unreal right there.
I mean, I use a 1070 still on my streaming PC.
Yeah, 1070 is a
But
solid card.
I think my gaming PC is a 2070.
Okay, yeah.
So it's right in there in that mid-range.
Yeah,
Not the best, not the worst. It's solid. I liked it. Oh, there we go, getting the rest of the Gigabyte little plastic stickers off the top without trying to scratch that.
Yeah, some of those
That end
stickers
is-
that are on those fans can be a real pain. Some of them come off real easy, but sometimes you gotta fight with them a little bit.
Zombie Ray mentions, let's see here. I'm looking at a 6700 XT, and I don't think I'd trust the cooling for it in a laptop frame. A 3060 in a laptop is pretty good as long as it doesn't overheat. That's a good question. PlayStation Local says, are you guys building DJ's new PC? We will be building my new PC on the show, but no, this is not it.
Yeah.
We're waiting for a few things to come in that are on back order, I think.
Too slow.
So, but when it happens, trust me, I'll be hollering from the rooftops and letting everybody know, guess what's coming. Now, I do want to point something out here because the two different things. First of all, we got to talk about how deep this card is. Now, this looks to me, just at first glance from the camera, is be a 4-stack.
Yes, this is going to be a 4-slot here. So typically, sometimes the cards will have all these slots extend out. So we would have these. Sorry, I'm trying to get this in focus. So we'd have these, you know, there'd be 4 of these. However, there's just 2 on this card, which is fine. But you can see how far this fan shroud sticks out. So that's what's going to make this a 4-slot card right there.
Yeah. I had a laptop that, when I was working for Outpost, that had a 2080 in it, and it was a great laptop. Battery didn't last for a whole long, but it was powerful. Now, given the size of this thing, this is a big, beefy card, are we going to lose access to that upper PCI slot?
Yes.
Yep.
It is going to cover it.
So
Okay.
we are going to have one. You can see that black one down here at the bottom right here. We are going to have one extra slot open for another card.
Okay. Now, because of the size of this and the weight, are we going to need to use an anti-sag device?
Yes, we are. So we've seen us use a couple on this show before. We like the ones that are mounted to the motherboard, and this Gigabyte card actually comes with one. So if you see, the card obviously says Gigabyte right here, but if you look down in there, you can see it says Gigabyte.
Oh, that's what he was installing.
Yep, that's
Okay.
what Zack installed. And then you can see, so that goes obviously under the card and then sticks out here, way past here. And then there's another piece that mounts to the video card. It's off camera right now. We'll show it once we get these screws tightened. That you screw into the card right here. Yeah, you can see the ends of the screws right here going in. And then it lines up in this slot. You can see that hole Zack's lining up. And once you tighten that, once that's tightened down, that secures it to the motherboard.
Yeah. You're gonna hurt Zach's feelings. He builds our laptops, and you made it to the hotel. Good thing you guys made it to the hotel. That is awesome. So Zach, what are some of the biggest cards that you've put in a laptop?
I'm on NDA right now, but 40 series.
Cool. Cool. Testing things out, pushing boundaries. There you go.
Pay attention to our website because we should be getting some new laptops here soon.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, so now we're up to the power supply unit, and this is a heavy, pretty hefty guy there. This is a 1,000-watt EVGA Supernova G5. It's an 80+ gold. This thing is nice.
Yeah, we really like these. Can't go wrong with an EVGA power supply. Very reliable, great product. This is a fully modular one, 80+ gold as well. So what fully modular means is that this is the power supply here. None of the cables are pre-soldered in. You can see these ports right here for our cabling. And so we're only going to plug in the cables that we need. So Zack's already got those separated. So there's going to be quite a few of these ports left open. And we'll have extra cables, you know, if the customer ever needs them for whatever reason. But what's really nice with the modular design, it helps with cable management. Less airflow is restricted, obviously having less cables in the system, and just looks a lot cleaner.
Nice. Okay. And that'll go in the back, and then you'll plug everything in through there.
So you can see Zack's plugging in the power supply cables right now to his CPU headers on the motherboard. And another great thing about the modular power supply is I got the power supply in my hand. He can plug in those cables and route them before the power supply is even installed.
Now, you mentioned this is a fully modular power supply. What different kinds of power supplies are there?
Yeah, so you have fully modular like this one that we're using. You've got semi-modular and then non-modular. So semi-modular is going to be very similar to this, except for your 24-pin, usually one 8-pin CPU and one 8-pin VGA connector are soldered in. So those will just be inside, already installed in the power supply. You can't remove those, but every PC is going to need those, so that's why they do it that way. And then all the other extra cables, extra video card cables, extra SATA cables, all that stuff, you can plug in just like a modular power supply. And then the last one is non-modular, where all the cables are soldered into the power supply, and you plug in what you need, and then you bundle and tie up the rest.
We've seen a couple of each of those here on this show over the last several months especially.
Yeah, we offer all of them. The biggest thing you want to look for is obviously make sure you have the right wattage for your power supply. Then this 80+ rating is really important. You definitely want to go with a power supply that has a minimum of just 80+. It'll have a little white sticker here. And then going up from there, there's bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and titanium.
Gotcha.
What that refers to is the actual efficiency of the power supply itself. So how much power it's pulling out of the wall versus how much is getting used in the system. So to get an 80+ rating, the power supply has to be 80% efficient at 3 different loads, usually a 20%, 50%, and 100% load. Then as you move up from bronze, silver, gold, it gets more efficient.
Perfect. Excellent. Now we're going to get that loaded into the back and the bottom, and that's when the real, I would say, struggle for getting everything connected correctly and the cable management starts rolling through. Zack, what are some good practices when it comes to feeding all of your cables through before you connect them to the power supply from an organizational standpoint?
So I do like working, as you saw, this graphics card does have a dongle on it. So I just like working from usually the board back to the power supply. And that will just help me to give the proper amount of slack. You don't want to pull, that's a good shot right there. Like if you see the 24 pin,
yeah,
you don't want to have it super pulled back tight like that. You don't want your cables to be really pulled back. You want to have a little bit of room in there just in case you need to unplug it to troubleshoot. But also it's just like a joint, you know, hyperextension. Is very bad, and you know, having something pulled and secured very tight is not always the best way.
Yeah, totally understand that one. Okay, getting that all connected in the back there. And then we'll attack this power supply. So I noticed that now, I mean, you're getting all of your cords in the back prepped, and then they will go into the power supply, yes?
Yes, correct.
Gotcha. Health class with Zack? Yes, Zombie Rain, absolutely.
I was worried. Oh, I wasn't thinking about those joints, so, you know. I was like, oh man, here we go. Yeah.
He said, what?
Yeah.
Here we go. Take 2. One thing to notice is that one of the nice things about the EVGA power supplies and the cable kits that come with them is it looks like they're labeled down below on the back.
Yes.
Yeah, all the ports are labeled on the power supply, and then all the cables are labeled as well, which is very nice because there's some power supply manufacturers that don't label the cables, and so that can be that can turn into a nightmare.
Also with cables and them being labeled is they all have different ratings. Just like the power supplies have different ratings, the cables that the companies pair with the power supplies, you know, like if you bought a 600 watt power supply, those cables are not going to be efficient on a 1,000 watt power supply. So you get different cables too. So if you are mixing and matching at home, be sure to do some quick Google searches to make sure that said cable can work so you don't fry something on accident.
Excellent point. Excellent point indeed. All right. So what is next on the agenda?
Just plug into the power.
Yeah, so we'll plug in these power supply cables into the power supply, do a little bit more cable management, and then that's it. So we're almost done here.
Well, one thing I would like to point out, because we know we've had a couple people ask for it, is we want to take a real quick chance to go back over the specs on the PC that we're giving away next week, and so that you can see exactly what's going into this. So, Jason, if you want to pop that on the screen, that would be great. Here we go. This is an Intel Core i7-13700 processor with a Fantex Glacier 1 240 AIO. Now, it's built onto an Asus TUF Gaming Z690 Plus Wi-Fi motherboard, and it has 32 gigs of Trident Z Neo RGB 3600 RAM. The graphics cards this is our first one we've done this with. It is an Intel Arc A770 16 gig, brand new on the market. These things are incredible. I've gotten to game with them at multiple different shows, including PAX and TwitchCon, and it was always impressive. The motherboard, the main operating system will be on the 1 terabyte Samsung 980 M.2 NVMe SSD, and of course, you've got that 4 terabyte Western Digital hard drive in the back of that as well. It's on a Neo Cube V2 Black, and it's got 10 Gamdias Aeolus M2 120 RGB fans with a Fantex AMP modular 1000 watt 80 plus gold, and that's just what's in the PC. On top of this, we've also partnered with Logitech Gaming to give you a full suite of peripherals to go along with it that all match up. So a big shout out and thank you to Intel Gaming and Fantex and Logitech for joining us in creating this giveaway. And speaking of things that are awesome to look at, let's take a second while he's working on those cables and talk about the website. At CLXgaming.com, we try and make it as easy and simple as possible to get your PC made the right way for your needs. Whether you're choosing between your graphics card or a motherboard, we provide you every single option as possible to ensure that you have what you need in order to make the machine of your dreams. And don't worry, you don't have to be an expert when you do this. If for some reason you happen to choose two different pieces that aren't necessarily compatible, our system is smart enough, it will tell you that you can't do that. And where it says add to cart, we'll switch to a little yellow button that says resolve conflict. When it resolves conflict, it says solve conflict. You want to click that button, and what will happen is it gives you the options of how to solve it. Notice how there's two different features there. You can either choose a different motherboard that matches the processor, or choose a different processor that matches the motherboard. It's your choice and your way. That's what's so amazing, is that you get to build the machine of your dreams. But don't worry, you don't have to just build your PC. We have hundreds of different designs, types, and with different modifications of pre-built, ready-to-ship models that are already fully tested in the back and ready for a brand new home. And who knows, that home just may be yours. So for all of your future needs when it comes to PCs, peripherals, and heck, even windbreakers like this, head on over to clxgaming.com and find out more. Now, Paul, I did mention something that I'd love for you to expound upon. Where does this PC go once we've got it fully built? Yeah,
so this PC and every PC we build here, once it's done being built, everything's back on and it powers on, we take it to our testing and integration department. And we do a few things there, but the first thing we do is get into the BIOS. We'll make sure your RAM speed's set correctly, make sure all of our storage devices are showing up correctly, a few other settings depending on the system we might check in there. And then after that, we'll load the operating system, any games the customer wants, anything like that. And then after that, we stress test the system for 12 hours. We've got a few benchmarking softwares that we use. 3D Mark is the main one. We also use Furmark, Prime 95, and a couple others depending on the system. But what that does is it puts the system through a stress test or a burn-in cycle, whatever you want to call it, to where we're making sure that the components in the system are stable. Maybe one of these sticks of RAM we got from the factory just happened to be defective, but it allows the system to boot, but fails when it's under load. Doing that testing allows us to catch it there and replace the stick of RAM. That way the customer gets a stable system.
Nice. Awesome. And of course, all of our systems come with our basic warranty, which you can increase from 1 year to 3 years. And that is, so 1 year parts and lifetime technical support and labor. So once you get this PC, we're set to go. If you have questions about how to upgrade it, what to do with it next, if something's not performing correctly, give a ring over to our customer service. They're extraordinarily knowledgeable and are there to help you as quickly as possible.
Yeah, our customer support staff is great. So if you get your machine 5 years down the road, you're ready to upgrade something, you want to keep the basics of the base PC that you have, though, just reach out to them. They'll be able to point you in the right direction.
Which is super awesome. All right.
All right.
How are we doing, Zach?
Ready to let her rip.
All right, let's take a peek at that incredible cable management that you did so unbelievably quickly. And of course, we've got this panel that goes on the back. What's this panel do?
So this can hold three M.2s, 3 SSDs for extra storage, and it's also an air dam. It keeps the power supply air and the hard drive air away from these fresh fans that are pulling in air off of the back. You see this little canted angle on here. That just helps guide air.
Gotcha. All right. Normally we do have 2 parts of the show, but today we're only going to be doing a single part because Jason has got to tear down the studio and pack everything up for PAX so we can go and film some amazing stuff and kind of bring you all along with us for the adventure. We're excited to be able to show a video of everything that we're going to be able to do and the people we're going to be able to interview. We've got some really great names lined up, including Control Quinn, Kareem Cheese, The Lost Drake. Lots of fun people to talk to. So, alrighty. Now comes the fun part.
Yay. That was an easy one.
The one side came off easy. Now we've got to go to the inside.
Oh my goodness, it's coming off easy. Yes.
What?
Yes, Leon Lee. Thank you. You've answered our prayers.
Must have been a Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, normally it's interesting when you see it, just a struggle bus of trying to pull that stuff off.
It can be such a struggle. The hardest part's getting the plastic off the panels.
Now, Zach, I did notice that you just had to kind of push that down a little bit. Is that always a situation with the 4090s?
A lot of a lot of the big cards. If they're a very tall card and they have a dongle, some of them are running into glass, and that's where you do have to be careful on how you fold your dongle over a little bit. You want to not fold it at the head unit, but actually with the cables.
Gotcha. That's a smart move. Nice. All right, we got all the panels going on. Got that final piece of plastic on the very front.
Dust filter. And our top panel.
Yep, that one. There we go. All right, the moment of truth. We're going to light this puppy up and see what happens.
There you go. All right. Screw that up. All righty.
It is a monster, Uchu. All right, let's do it.
Beautiful.
Heck yeah.
Look
Beautiful.
at that. That's gorgeous.
That dragon
I dig
there?
it.
Yep.
Oh.
That thing looks
Yep.
good.
Well, and it's fun because they also have a Dragon port on this. It's 2.5 gig LAN port. I forgot to mention that. That is awesome. Nicely done. Let's go over once again everything that is inside of this PC. This is built inside of a raw O11X O11 DXL full tower from Lian. It has an Intel Core i9-13900K 3 gigahertz processor that's mounted inside of an MSI MPG 690 carbon Wi-Fi motherboard with 32 gigs of DDR5-5200 RAM from our friends over at Geil. It also, of course, has an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4090 24 gig graphics card. The operating system is installed on a 2 terabyte Kingston NVMe M.2 SSD, and it's got and the processor is being cooled by an Enermax Liqmax 3 ARGB 360 closed loop liquid cooler. The secondary storage back in that hot swap bay is an 8 terabyte 3.5-inch Seagate Barracuda hard disk drive. And of course, the whole thing is cooled by 10 different CLX RGB fans and powered by a 1,000-watt EVGA Supernova G5 80 plus gold power supply unit. And all of this, of course, is going to be coming in the incredible CLX sarcophagus packaging that comes with all of our raw PCs. So, nicely done, guys.
Thank you.
Sweet. Yeah. All right, so that is going to bring us to the end of our show. A couple quick reminders is that we will not be here on Thursday. On Thursday, we will actually be at PAX, and you can check out the Intel Gaming channel that will be live from the PAX show floor to and watch for Paul's show. This is going to be absolutely incredible. You and Rob are going to team up and build some great stuff. You can normally tune into this show Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11 a.m. Pacific. That's 2 Eastern. And join us. Well, we bring out codes, build new machines, and show you the next giveaways coming up soon. We got 1 week left for that giveaway, and if you type !GiveCube, it will give you the link. And don't forget, we've got these codes sitting right up at the top. Make sure you cash those in as soon as possible. That is Cube TX6J, Texas 6J, and Cube CGUF, college guys under fire. There we go. I don't know why I have to make a sentence out of it, but I do. You can find out more about us at our in social medias. That's YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter at CLX Gaming. You can also join our community where we also have options for everything from trivia to name it to give codes away. That is at discord.gg/CLX Gaming. The other place to get them is on my channel over at DJ BluePDX. With that being said, on behalf of Jason and Kyle in production, Paul and Zack, I'm DJ BluePDX. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.